Dear brothers, good morning, fellas. Hope you guys had a great weekend and ready to get after it this week. I'm actually going to tell you guys a little bit about my weekend. The wife and I decided together that we were going to take a little detox this weekend, if you will, not in the food sense, but in the digital sense. So on Friday morning, we both said that phones were basically off limits for the weekend. We both have, Apple Watches, so we could basically use those to do little things and text people if we needed to. But basically, we said we're no phones, no social media, none of that for the weekend. And so the results of that, as all of you can expect, were pretty terrific. I'm going to put it like this. You know how you can just have like random bouts of, you just kind of get anxious for no good reason. You're just kind of sitting there and maybe you're on your phone and you're scrolling and you put it away and then you kind of go do something, you grab your phone and you just keep scrolling away and you get that ridiculous anxiety, like just something's wrong. And then all of a sudden you've wasted an hour or something and you've got to go, you're playing catch up basically. We didn't have any of that this weekend. We spent quality time together everywhere that we went. When we went out to eat, it was just us in the moment, enjoying each other. I think my wife just about fully read Fourth Wing, that extremely popular book now. I think she's like 80% done with it in the span of 2 days. I'm pretty sure I finished the last 30% of a book and I started the first 20% of a book. I was able to read through a full newspaper that I don't think I've ever fully read through because I just don't have the time, quote unquote. We took several long walks together. And usually we get a good one in, but we took several really good ones. We played with our dogs a little bit more. In the moments where I found myself like, I'm like almost bored right now. And I was thinking to myself, what would I normally do in these moments? And the answer would be I'd pick up my phone and I would just scroll or whatever. And oftentimes the excuse that I make and I hear others make is, oh, well, I'm doing it for work, or I'm doing it to de-stress, or I'm doing it to do something mindless. And my comeback to that is that what you're doing isn't mindless. It's time destroying. Why couldn't you just read? I do know some people that read on their phones, but I would argue that that's probably not the right medium to be reading on. It's such an easy thing for us to grab and use and take a look at all the nonsense that just exists on your phone. Whereas I would argue if you find yourself bored, having a Kindle, if you want something electronic close by, is probably a better option. It's not, you can't go on to, what's amazing? So my wife and I both have done this, and I've seen other people do this, where on your phone, most people know exactly where all of their apps are. And I know that it was Friday, right before we started our little detox, if you will. I was sitting there on my phone. I closed everything out, and out of nowhere, I had just grabbed a glass of water. I was just taking a glass of water, and I just pulled my phone out for no reason. And on my phone, I actually don't have any of my apps showing. I have this thing called Minimus. It's an app you can download. And literally, it's the only app that you can see on my phone. You have to swipe down to get to anything. And so I automatically pulled my phone out, swiped down, typed INSTA, trying to get to Instagram. And in that moment, I caught myself like, whoa, I was pulling this up almost subconsciously and would have not known anything of it had I not somewhat been planning on this little getaway from social media and my phone for the weekend. And I think that all of us probably need to take a very hard look in the mirror about how much time we spend on our phones specifically. Because, I think to myself of friends of mine that have kids now, and they're going to mimic what we do. They're going to see what we do. And if you're constantly buried in your phone, it's not shocking that they're also going to want to be buried in their phones at some point. And I think that we just have to, I feel more awake this morning. It was one of the best weekends that my wife and I have had in I don't know how long. And it's not like we have bad weekends, but we got away. We spent a lot. I didn't touch my phone this weekend. I had my watch on me just in case something went awry or somebody really needed me. But otherwise, at this moment, I'm not actually sure where my phone is. And I'm pretty stoked about that. Nothing bad happened. Everything's okay. I didn't need to check all my social media things for a couple of days. It's not a big deal. And I'm not saying that we have to wholesale get rid of things, but I think the amount of time suck that occurs is pretty incredible when it comes to our phones. And I just think that I would really encourage all of you that maybe this weekend, pick a couple of days, pick a day, one day, and just put your phone in a closet. Put it in a bag. We actually have a little contraption you can buy that you can put it in there and set a 24-hour timer, and you're literally not getting it out of there until that 24-hour timer goes off. So I really do recommend doing that. Take a little detox. We really don't need all of this nonsense constantly pushing into our minds. It was so freeing to just be like, I don't know where my phone is. I'm going to go read. Hey, why don't we go take a walk? Perfect. My wife and I had multiple very good, deep conversations this weekend that we probably wouldn't have had we been sitting on the couch and just scrolling through nonsense. And it was cool. And I don't really have any other way to describe it. What I'm going to leave you guys with, though, is as I was spending some extra time reading this weekend, I was going through On the Shortness of Life by Seneca. Was a Stoic philosopher, and I enjoyed going back, rereading a lot of his stuff. And I want you to kind of chew on this for the next couple of days. It falls in line with what we were talking about. So he says this. He says, "You will find no one willing to share out his money, but to how many does each of us divide up his life? People are frugal in guarding their personal property, but as soon as it comes to squandering time, they are most wasteful of the one thing in which it is right to be stingy." And as I kind of read that during our time away from our devices, that stung. I felt that deeply, considering to myself that we are so frugal and unwilling to share out our money or our stuff. There are some people who are willing to give you anything, and I'm grateful for my close friends who are. But for the most part, people protect those things more than anything. But we're willing to spend somewhere around, in some cases, they just had a study come out with young people. It was 11 hours a day that they were on a device. 11 hours. That's over half of your waking day. It's almost half of the day and more than half of your waking day. Get rid of that 8 hours of sleep if you're getting that much. We'll call it 7 just for giggles. And you're all the way down to 17 hours of the waking day, and 11 of them are spent on a device. That's crazy. Adults are somewhere between 4 and 6 hours of just scroll time on their device. We're willing to give up that much time and just fritter that away. For what? What are you getting out of that? I don't think anybody listening to this is an influencer, whatever the hell that means. And so just put them away. We don't need them. Go read. Gain some more knowledge in something. I don't care how you guys do it. But I think we need to have a little bit of a come to Jesus talk about not having to utilize our phone so much. This includes me. I tell you what, after that weekend of being away from it, I almost don't want it because it was just such a fulfilling time. I was more productive. I got a bunch of stuff done that I've read stuff that I've been meaning to read for months. It was terrific. My wife and we just had a great time together. So I would really encourage all of you, do that. Take some time away from your phones, get away from the nonsense, and I promise you, you will feel far better. Let me know. Drop me a line. Tell me if I'm crazy. I don't think I am in this regard. Normally I am, but not this one. That, gentlemen, is how I want you to start your week. Spend some time away from the device. It'll help you out. God bless. Be strong. I love you all. Let's get after it this week, baby. We'll see you.